To call our meeting to order. Good evening, everyone. Dr. Walker, Mr. Walker, would you please lead us in roll call?
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Rich.
I'm here.
Ms. Fox.
Here.
Ms. Heinrich.
Here.
Ms. Weems.
Here.
Ms. Smith.
Here.
I myself am here, and Dr. Blau.
Hi.
Everybody is here.
Wonderful. We have 4 students who have volunteered to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, 1 from North Farmington and 3 from the STEAM Academy. Please stand, and they will come up and lead us in the pledge. Whenever you're ready.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. We'll be hearing more from these students later on in the meeting. It is my pleasure to announce that it is time for our elected officers to take the oath of office. We have Judge Parker here tonight to lead us in this wonderful ceremony.
Well, thank you, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Delgado. It's a pleasure to be here to administer the oath of office to our 4 members of the board who were all elected or re-elected. And it's nice to do so in person. I know the last time I did this, last couple times, I think we were doing this on Zoom, so it's my pleasure to be here and see everyone. For those of you who are about to take the oath, I want to thank you. Each of you bring the perspective, first of all, of being or having been the parent or the grandparent of students in the district. Each of you brings a history of involvement with the district and with the community in general, doing so much community service, serving on so many community organizations and so many committees. So we thank you. And each of you bring your varied life experience and professional experience, which brings perspective to your role here. And each of you comes with previous experience on this board. And I know that you all know well the level of work, the complexity of the decisions that you're making, and the constant challenges that you're facing. And yet, what you all know well is that you make such a difference in the lives of students, of parents, and in the entire community. And again, I want to thank you for stepping up and taking this responsibility. We're going to do this a little differently tonight. I know that I've administered the oath to each of you before, and we've done so individually, but today we're going to do this together, so that I'm going to ask that you stand as I call your name: Claudia Heinrich, Angie Smith, Donald Walker, and Terry Weems. And would you each raise your right hands? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Michigan, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of member of the Board of Education of Farmington Public Schools according to the best of your ability? If you will, say, I do.
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Judge Parker, and congratulations again to our colleagues. All right, next we have approval of the agenda. Yes, Ms. Heinrich.
I move that the agenda for the regular meeting of the Board of Education, Tuesday, January 10th, 2023, be approved as written.
Support.
Moved by Ms. Heinrich and supported by Mr. Rich. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any dissension? All right. It passes. Announcements. Most importantly, because of the construction in this building currently, if you need to use the restroom, you have to go on a little bit of a walking field trip. It is out the back door to the left, And you want to go to the center doors, not the tech doors, but the center doors. They should be unlocked, and there should be signs guiding your way. So we will leave this door unlocked, so you don't have to knock to get back in. Okay. It is the start of a brand new year, not quite yet the middle of our school year. And I read a quote over the break about rather than being nervous or afraid of the space between where we are and where we want to be, to allow that space to inspire us instead. And so I hope that as we begin this new year together, we are inspired to continue on the paths that we have begun and continue to make our way toward the goals that we have set for ourselves as a board and as our district. Have several recognitions this evening. Mr. Delgado.
Thank you, Dr. Blau, and I am very excited to welcome everybody back. Welcome to 2023, and as Dr. Blau said, almost the second half of our school year. We started this tradition of recognition at the beginning of every board meeting, so we have a few recognitions and announcements, and then we will take a brief break so we can congratulate you in person. So first up, I'd like to invite up to the podium any of the members of the high school CyberPatriots National Youth Cyber Defense Competition. If you can come on up to the podium. We can give them a round of applause as I... Farmington Public Schools has one student-led team from both North Farmington High School and Farmington High School. They participated in the CyberPatriot National Youth Cyber Defense Competition. The CyberPatriot team at North Farmington High School won platinum, and the Farmington High School team won gold. The CyberPatriot National Youth Cyber Defense Competition challenges teams of high school and middle school students to find and fix cybersecurity vulnerabilities in virtual operating systems. Using a proprietary competition system, teams are scored on how secure they make the system. Top teams advance through the online round of competition, and the best of the best advance to the in-person national finals competition. This year, each team had 2 challenges during the 6-hour competition period. Number 1 was Network Security Challenge that involved finding and fixing security vulnerabilities in Windows and Linux operating systems. The second was Cisco Networking Challenge, which consists of an online quiz and a virtual networking exercise based on specific training materials. Our FPS students began preparing for the competition at the beginning of the school year with training rounds. Training rounds led to official practice rounds in October, and once training rounds were complete, students entered into scored live rounds that were held on weekends from November through January. Students competed in 3 virtual rounds of competition where students had to download images, use a packet tracer to extract images, decode and encrypt various images using multi-factor authentication. There were a total of 2,578 teams that competed from all over the United States, and awards were given in the categories of platinum, gold, and silver. So I'll repeat, our North Farmington received a platinum score, and our Farmington High School team won gold. Congratulations to our high school. And if you could come to the podium, introduce yourself, and I'm sure our board members have some questions for you. We also have some certificates for you as well.
All right. Hi, my name is Karthikeya Torda. I'm from Farmington High School, and this is my, I think it's my second year in CyberPatriot. I read a quote about cybersecurity is not only that attacking, but defending yourself. Without defense, there's no security and privacy about for you. And I also say that cybersecurity is like, it's like technically a game where like you want to defend yourself before like attacking itself. Any questions?
Yes, you're hired. You're hired. If you want, maybe we can just go down the round, have everyone introduce, just share a little bit about your reflection. That was wonderful. Example of what you thought about the competition and or general views on cybersecurity. And then again, I'm sure our board members have questions for you.
Hello, I'm Aditya Vande. This was my first year in CyberPatriot. I enjoyed going to the Zoom meetings a lot. I got to overview what my superiors did. I didn't really get to participate, but I learned a lot from them, and they're great teachers. And most of our time spent on Zoom was fun and learning, which I enjoyed very much.
Hello, I'm Rasraj Sawant. This was my first year in CyberPatriot. It was a good experience. I just came like this year, so this was my first club. I just came this year in Farmington. So yeah, it was a good experience and I learned a lot from Karthikeya itself. So yes, thank you.
Wonderful.
Hello, my name is Gaurahari Katresan, also from Farmington High School, and this is my first year of CyberPatriot. And I had a very great time, and I learned a lot from Karthikeya.
Hello, my name is Surya. This is my second year participating in the club, and it was fun to be back and participate with my friend Karthikeya.
My name is Heidi. This was my first year participating at the high school level of CyberPatriot, and I enjoyed learning more about the field.
Wonderful. Well, congratulations again, and I'll turn it over to our board if they have questions or comments. You can all squeeze around the podium so we can see you on TV.
Ms. Fox, and then Ms. Weems.
Yes. Cybersecurity, I know personally, as my son is working towards a certification for cybersecurity. He spends a lot of time at night studying. This is not an easy system to be able, so I'm very, very proud of you guys. At such a young time, I am very impressed with what you guys are doing.
I just want to echo that. We're extremely proud of you to have competed against over 2,500 groups. That's just amazing and outstanding. So grateful that you had an opportunity to learn. It sounds like all of you were very interested in the learning in addition to winning. So congratulations.
I remember, I think it was last year, it was a new course. We approved the new course, and just for clarification, this is in addition to the class, it's an after-school club that you meet. So hats off to you for really, taking what you learn and participating and doing this. And I really like the leadership of the second-year members and the first-year members, and, that's a win-win situation. So congratulations to you. I'm just totally impressed, so thank you.
Not to echo everyone, first of all, I want to welcome the ones that they are not only new to the program, but new to our district. And it's impressive to see that the first thing you did was when you came to Farmington, you joined this group, and kudos to those that run this operation. Also, do you have any plans on doing this in the future after you leave school?
Yeah, I actually have plans for cybersecurity. So my plan is to go for a bachelor's of computer science, then do a master's of cybersecurity. And currently, I also started a small startup where I teach teenagers, middle schoolers, or any type of person who's interested in learning cybersecurity, or specifically offensive security or ethical hacking. We have a small startup. We teach kids as well how to be safe on online, and because the world is moving towards to the online, so every single student and kids need to learn how to defend yourself and then not fall for it as a victim. Because when I read an article that around like $3.9 million actually gone for hackers in Bitcoin cryptocurrency as well. So yeah, I want to make a world as safe as possible, especially in cyberspace.
Well, I appreciate you, and I wish all of you well, and please keep doing this. And we do need the youth to teach us, even us as adults, how to stay safe in cyberland. Thank you.
I'm thinking the same thing, Ms. Smith. Do you offer courses for, Okay.
He's got a business.
Leave us your card.
Maybe at our next retreat, we could have a little, no, really, it's awesome. We are so proud of you and so grateful to you. But so excited. And we're going to leave the boardroom yet because minutes.
And while Dr. Blau is handing out the certificates, I'd like to say congratulations again to our high school folks. And then let's invite up our STEAM cybersecurity team as well. Any members of the STEAM cybersecurity team? Because you're up next. And congratulations again. And STEAM, don't be shy, you can step on up to the podium. We have certificates for you, and again, we'll take a break after our next recognition, and we'll get some pictures with all of you. So, welcome to our Farmington STEAM Academy CyberPatriot team. This team competed for a full 6 hours and achieved a cumulative score of 149.29 points. The next highest Michigan middle school team achieved 79.25 points. Wow. So I think you know what that means. That means that the team came back as the first place Michigan middle school, STEAM Academy. The cumulative scores from round 1, 2, and state round currently place the team at 26th out of 534 middle school teams across the competition, or 95th percentile here in Michigan. Scoring first place at states has granted them advancement to the semifinals on January 20th and 21st. And if you were wondering, our record stands 2019, first place, 2020, first place, 2021, second place, and they brought it back home in 2022, first place again. And the members of the STEAM Academy are Richa Chava, Raya Chava, Sonia Cranston, Tessie G, and Oliver Strickfaden. Congratulations to you all. And similarly, if you'd like to step up to the podium, introduce yourself, and just share a little bit about the experience.
Hi, my name is Tessa. I go to Farmington STEAM Academy, and this is my second year doing CyberPatriot. I think it's a pretty cool program that gives a lot of different career paths open and teaches you a lot of life skills.
Hi, I'm Leah Trava, an 8th grader at Farmington STEAM Academy, and this year was my first year participating in CyberPatriot, and I really enjoyed it. It was really fun, and I learned a lot about cybersecurity, so yeah, happy to have participated.
Hi, my name is Richa Trava. I also go to Farmington STEAM Academy, and this is my first year competing in CyberPatriot, and overall I learned a lot from it, and a lot about protecting my computer and everything else.
Wonderful. I'll turn it over to our board.
I'd just like to say, go girl power.
So is there a class, an elective class, and an extracurricular club that you participate in, or is it? Do you take a cybersecurity class at school, and then you participate in a club after school?
We do not have any electives for this. It's just a after-school thing that you can choose to do.
Just an after-school thing? Okay. All right, so thank you. I just, my granddaughter's at STEAM Academy, and I'm like looking at these girls. And she's here tonight, so it's like, see, Maggie, if you're interested in this, you can do this. She's not shy.
So what grades do you have to be in at the middle school to take this, do this, or is it open to everyone at STEAM?
So you can participate in CyberPatriot as long as you're in middle school, so like 6th to 8th grade.
Thank you.
So 6th, 7th, and 8th graders can participate.
Well, the future is definitely bright with these young people, and not only we're proud of your accomplishments in actual competitions, but that you're helping to keep us safe and learn about keeping the computers safe and keeping our systems safe, because it's very needed in our world. So thank you, and congratulations to both teams.
Not only did you achieve first place, but by such a tremendous margin, almost double the next highest score. That's incredible. Wow. We're very proud, and keep up the great work.
And one more recognition to bring in the new year. So I'd invite to the podium Mr. Brad Paddock, our wonderful Assistant Superintendent of Talent Development, with an administrative announcement.
Thank you. Good evening, Dr. Delgado and the Board of Education. It is certainly a pleasure to start out our new year with this next leadership announcement and introduction. I would like to ask Dr. Lydia Moore to please come forward and join me alongside as I say a few words. On December 7th, in an effort to fill the vacancy left by retiree and very well-respected Dr. Jackie McDougall, we began the screening process for cover letters and resumes of approximately 17 applicants in search of our next Executive Director of Special Education. This posting captured the attention of multiple out-of-state applicants looking to join our FPS staff community. After this initial screening, we began the thorough process of in-person interviews of 6 candidates. The first round interview was with our central office cabinet team. The second round was with a very committed and reflective stakeholder group consisting of 23 participants made up of staff, parents, students, and additional central office staff. The third round was a written data analysis assignment summarizing student data. The fourth round was an intense education-based talent identification assessment looking for and identifying key interpersonal leadership strengths done by an outside agency. And to wrap up the process, the fifth and final round was between 2 finalists, speaking with Dr. Delgado, Dr. Coffin, and me. I am pleased to announce and introduce to you Dr. Lydia Moore, who has been selected to serve as the next Executive Director of Special Education in Farmington Public Schools. Dr. Moore earned her Bachelor of Science in Special Education from Eastern Michigan and her Master's in Special Education, Autism Spectrum Disorder from Oakland University. She concluded her personal education journey by earning her doctoral degree in Early Childhood Intervention Services from Kent State University. Dr. Moore began her education teaching career as a teacher of autism spectrum disorder in Birmingham Public Schools for over a decade. Her involvement in administration began at Oakland Schools ISD, where she served as their early childhood special education consultant. Currently, she serves in Farmington Public Schools. She serves our staff and students as one of our special education supervisors and has held this position for the past 5 years. In performing reference checks for Dr. Moore, I quickly learned that she is very well respected outside of our FPS community. Miss Abby Seifer, Executive Director for the State MACE organization, which is the Michigan Association of Administrators of Special Education, simply said, "Brad, if you hire Lydia, just know you would be replacing one of the best current executive directors with someone that is one of the best emerging leader candidates that our organization has seen across the state. On behalf of Dr. Delgado and the Cabinet leadership team, I want to thank you for keeping Farmington Public Schools as your leadership home and for your ongoing passion and commitment to serve our kids and staff in this new role. Personally, I look forward to collaborating with you because now we have to get to work on hiring a replacement. Please feel free in joining me in congratulating Dr. Lydia Moore on being named the next Executive Director of Special Education here in Farmington Public Schools.
Well, thank you, Mr. Paddock, for those kind words. I was not expecting that little information about the reference check, so thank you for that. That's always lovely to hear. Thank you, Dr. Delgado, and to the Board of Education for entrusting me with this very important position here in the district. I'm grateful to Dr. McDougall for her years of mentorship, and I'm beyond thrilled to continue to serve this community that I love so much and hold so dear. Of course, Farmington is my home. It's my leadership home. I knew that from the day I started here in this district, and I've had no reason to ever think otherwise. I really look forward to leading this incredibly talented department that we have, as we continue to provide the best education for our students. So again, thank you.
Yes, don't go away yet. Yes, Ms.
I just wanted to say that I really appreciated learning about the rigorous process across the 4 rounds of interviews, and also appreciated learning and understanding a bit more your background, and most specifically your qualifications and the recommendations and references. I feel appreciative of all of that, and I wish you all of the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Welcome to your new position, and thank you for continuing to serve our students in all the wonderful ways that you do.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's the end of our recognition for tonight.
5 minutes? Okay. We're going to take just a 5-minute recess so that we can have an opportunity to interact with those who were recognized this evening. So recess for 5 minutes. 5 minutes, but thank you, everyone, for your patience with us. We will resume our meeting. Okay. Items from the secretary. Mr. Walker.
The board has received communications regarding the board website, TV10 board meetings, the school year calendar and religious holidays, and special education. Communications are acknowledged, and when appropriate, a response is provided. A list of correspondence can be found in the board packet, which is available on the FPS website.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Next, our legislative update. Mr. Rich.
Thank you. With this new term, that means the Farmington School District has a lot of new representation at all different levels of government. So we have at the county level, the Farmington District is represented by Commissioners Gwen Markham, William Miller, and Marcia Gershenson. So we've got 3 commissioners now representing at the county level. Tomorrow is the first day of the legislative session for the state legislature. In the State House, we have Samantha Steckloff, who has been representing us previously. We have added Kelly Breen from Novi, Noah Arbit from West Bloomfield, and Jason Hoskins from Southfield. So we also have 4 representatives at the State House level, and then at the State Senate level, we have both Rosemary Bayer and Mary Kavanaugh representing the Farmington District. And then finally, at the federal level, we have Congresswoman Haley Stevens in the United States House, and in the U.S. Senate, we have Gary Peters and Debbie Stabenow. So we have a lot of different representation at all these different levels. These are people that we can reach out to when looking at different laws that might be coming into place, different appropriations, funding from all these different levels of government, and we're able to start making these connections for those that we haven't had previously, to start those introductory meetings and say, hey, this is the Farmington District, here's what we stand for, here's what we are looking for, here's where we're leading the way, here's where we need some help, and things like that. So it's great to start now so that when things come up, we already have those good relationships. And I know that our district has already started building those with a lot of our new representation.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Mr. Rich. Fortunately, throughout this last campaign season, we had multiple opportunities, primarily through Ms. Smith, to interact with many of these new members of Congress, both at the county level as well as at the state level. And so we have already begun to build some of those relationships. So that's really exciting. Later this month, I will be going to Washington, D.C. as part of the National School Board Association Advocacy Conference. And I look forward to having further opportunities to tell them about the kinds of things we are doing and what our priorities are for them to take into consideration as they craft new legislation. So thank you so much, Mr. Rich. Next, we have district updates. Dr. Delgado.
Thank you, Dr. Blau. And once again, I'd like to say welcome back to the second half, if you will, of the school year in 2023. I'll wish everyone watching and in the audience a Happy New Year, although it reminds me, if you're a Curb Your Enthusiasm fan, of Larry David, who says you are not supposed to say Happy New Year after January 7th. Oh. But it's the first time that we saw you, so Happy New Year to you. Just a couple of comments. We want to wish good luck and good preparation to all of our high school students who are preparing for their final exams for the first semester, and then we'll get ready to start the second semester very shortly. I also want to encourage the community to join me and many of the board members at the annual Martin Luther King celebration sponsored by our Farmington Community Library. They do such an incredible job, and of course we partner with them. I had a meeting this morning with Mr. Greg Smith, our Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, who Farmington has a wonderful supporting role in this event, and we will have students and a panel as well as a parade and various other items. The event kicks off Sunday, actually, January 15th. A prelude to MLK Day at 2 p.m. There's going to be a presentation, The History and Legacy of the Tuskegee Airmen. So a wonderfully educational and inspirational session that if you have an opportunity to register, you can go right on the Farmington, it's farmlib.org, which is the Farmington Library, and you can register for that event. And then Monday, the full day of events kicks off at 10 a.m. at the Farmington Library on the 12-mile branch at 10 a.m. with sign making, followed by a legacy march, as well as at 12 noon, we have our own students, the Diversity Association, Mr. Smith runs with our own IDEA students with a panel discussion. And following that, at 2 p.m., we have a live performance, Dr. King, the Movement of Freedom, and an interactive presentation, as well as a dance company at 3:30 and a student community showcase and award ceremony at 6:30. So, and that is sponsored by, in part, by the Multiracial Multicultural Council of Farmington, Farmington Hills, as well as the Community Equity Organization, and of course your school district. So I'd encourage everyone to participate in this wonderful celebration in our cities in Farmington and Farmington Hills. And last but certainly not least, I want to acknowledge that January is Board Member Recognition Month, and so I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart and echo much of what Judge Parker said about your commitment, your volunteerism, your loyalty to this district, to the families of this district. I'm just humbled and honored to work with all of you, and certainly encouraged by the path that we're taking together to try to help lead the district forward, as well as support and celebrate all the students and families that we all work for, that you all volunteer for. So you're wonderful colleagues and you're consummate professionals, and I couldn't be more proud of working with you. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
And next up, it's my pleasure to bring up to the podium our wonderful Assistant Superintendent of Strategic Initiatives and Innovation, Dr. Kelly Coffin, for the next round of our strategic planning updates.
Good evening. I am thrilled to be here tonight to have some people come up and provide an update to our Futures Committee. As we've talked about before, our Futures Committee is really like a think tank in education, which is very unique. And so we always have a lot of fun trying to figure out how to make this work. So I want to invite up some members that are going to speak with you tonight. As you know, our co-leaders, we have co-leaders and co-chairs. Our co-leaders are our teacher leaders, Sean McGuckin and Nicole Jones. And then we have our co-chairs who are administrative support, Kelly Kaminsky and Chris Musner. So Sean was going to join us, but the person who normally fills in for him while he comes here to speak is here to speak with us tonight. So Sean thought it was more important for us to hear from Hank than from him. So I want to just kick this off first with talking about a little bit of some of the work the committee has been doing. You can see there that it's really a place for connection, where educators can share current practices and have really a safe space to share and dream big around innovative ideas. It's also about inspiration and really expanding our own understanding of what does innovation look like in the educational setting. And then certainly it's about developing partnerships. So we get ideas and insights from our community members on potential innovative practices and partnerships.
Hi. So to continue on that, we've kind of grounded our work around the profile of a lifelong learner. So like all of our strategic planning groups, we're looking at the different aspects of the lifelong learner and exploring how we can see ourselves moving into this profile in the future in some innovative and creative ways. Like Dr. Coffin said, it's really a nice group because we're able to kind of just dream big and say like, hey, if we had no restraints, what would we do? What would we want to do? What could our kids do? And then with that, we're looking at how can we make connections amongst our educators, our students, our community members to really make those big dreams a reality. And the nice part is that we've already started to see some small projects, starting to get wheels, and that's fun and keeps the work, to continue. So I'm going to let Hank introduce our next part here.
So one of the initiatives we are doing is a book study. We're reading educational strategist Michael B. Horn's book, From Reopen to Reinvent, Recreating School for Every Child. We began this book study in December of 2020, And we're reading it a couple chapters at a time and using the content in it to springboard discussion, using the ideas in the book to grow upon our own ideas and to look at new ones, look at new ways of improving FPS. And the next meeting is on January 12th. So if you're watching and you're part of the group and you haven't read through chapter 4, you have 2 days.
I've done my homework. I've read it.
And another thing is expanding membership to include student representatives. At this time, I'm the only student representative, but we are open to more students joining to give a different voice, a different perspective on how to best improve our school district. So as I've been reading this book, I've been keeping some notes, and this one stood out to me. I'm a senior at Farmington High School, and I'm part of the IB career-related program, through which I take TV 10 at North as my career-related study. And I have the worst case of senioritis right now. All I want to do is be home working on my own projects, learning at my own pace the things I want to learn that I feel will benefit me. So a quote is, this means that students who focus their attention on things besides education are not unmotivated. They are plenty motivated to feel success and have fun with friends. The problem is that many students just don't or can't feel successful each day and find rewarding relationships at a traditionally structured school. Instead, school makes them feel like failures, academically, socially, or both. Besides maybe 1 or 2 classes, I don't always feel like a failure at school, but I definitely see this in some of my peers, which is why this committee is important to work towards making it so every student is welcomed and every student can be successful in their own way.
And that is the reason why you never follow a student, because now he said everything I was going to say. Thank you. All right, hi, I'm Nicole Jones. And so just finally to close this out, our upcoming work. What we want to do is provide space for innovative ideas to be honored and explored. For you to have space to share new thinking in a way that is respectful and allows us to think a little bit about out of the box. So we've really been trying to lean into the possibilities that the future holds for the FPS learning community. It's often said that we are preparing students for jobs that do not yet exist. And so one of our challenges is, how can we imagine schools that need to exist for those kids to be successful at those jobs? So this is just a wonderful group, and I'm just so glad to be a part of it. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
And that's it. Any questions?
So a couple things. First is, yes, we are definitely preparing students for the future of work, so much of which we don't know about right now. I am in workforce, and I know that the stats it's staggering that the number of jobs, if you look at them, and I don't know what the number is, but a good 70% of them will not be here in a relatively small amount of time. And what's happened is COVID has exacerbated that and shortened the amount of time that we're going to see technology really taking over a lot of the work that's being done. And you're seeing it already now, where you're no longer going to need potentially grocery store folks or a lot of the retail, or there'll be robots delivering food, all of that kind of stuff. Even car driving and truck driving will eventually go away. So I love the fact that we're thinking about how we're going to prepare our students, and I couldn't be more grateful for the work that you're doing. And specific to the student that is participating on this, I mean, your voice is so incredibly important because, we're learning different. Students today learn differently. They interact differently. The world is different than the world was when I was going to school. So your perspective is extremely valuable on this committee. So thank you, all of you who are participating, but really in particular, you. as a student. I really appreciate that. And you are so articulate. I really loved hearing from you today.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just, I'll try and keep this brief, but the teacher in me is listening to this. So, so thank you. And I'm really excited that, there's such a level involvement from, administrators, teachers, a student. And I'm just listening to your comment. It's like, you want to take classes that you're interested in. And I'm like, that's like about college, it's like hang in there, get to college, because you really get to focus on things that you really like and good at, and more choices. And from a formal high school math teacher, algebra, it's just like, we're always challenging our teachers. So how do you make this relevant? Why do you need to learn this to convince you? So, our CTE courses and things like that. So I'm excited about the book study, and just kind of want to hear a little bit more, not tonight, obviously, but, how you're going to take this back to the all of your staff and teachers and get them to buy into it. It's like there's a small group and the people on the committee are excited, but, taking that and filtering that down and sharing that enthusiasm and what you've learned, and getting your staff and the people that are in the trenches to buy into these things, is really an important task. So I'm interested in hearing more about that. But I think you're laying the foundation by the depth as far as, the levels of all the involvement across the district. So I really commend you for your work, and thank you.
Mr. Walker?
I'm just so excited by this committee and what you shared tonight, especially the part about being brave enough to reimagine what school looks like. I don't think it's any real huge statement to say that our current school models are antiquated at best, and it doesn't really fit, as Hank mentioned, the way our students are today. So that level of courage to reimagine what school looks like and then give us a pathway to get there, I'm just very, very much excited by that across the board. So just keep dreaming, keep dreaming, keep dreaming.
Yeah, and if I can just add, the book, he was referring to Michael Horn's book about From Reopen to Reinvent, and I had the opportunity to listen to Michael Horn speak, and this is research he's done from schools all across America. And the part that Hank was reading from really talked about when our kids come to school, they want to feel successful, and they want to have fun, and they want to be with their friends. And so when that doesn't happen, so when we think about where do we start, there are many starting places, and Ms. Musner mentioned it about the ripples that come from this committee. So while we meet and people come in and leave, and we have the book and people are reading it, you can see the ripples that are happening from these meetings. While it may be a smaller group, they're going out and they're sharing with their colleagues and their friends and their neighbors, and it's really going to show in some of the work that you're going to see happen.
It's really exciting for me. I'm on a different committee. I'm on the Teaching and Learning Committee. We met earlier today, and to hear some of the same kinds of innovative, courageous ideas emerging from your committee that are also emerging from our committee. There's this synchronicity here that is very palpable and exciting. And I foresee our district emerging as innovators in reinventing K-12 public education, not for the sake of reinventing it, but because what we have been using is antiquated, is not working. On that we can agree. So let's then build a new system that will work for all of our students. And although it might not look like what we're accustomed to, if that's what we determine is going to work best for our students, then I congratulate us for having the courage to venture out into these new waters. So,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
I'll just share one final thought, and those are the end of our district updates, but I appreciate what Principal Musner mentioned, is that each of these committees you see are aligning back to our lifelong learner, our profile of a lifelong learner. And so when you have an authentic, organic process that involves community members, that raises student voice, that creates not just pretty posters, but a philosophy of what our promise to our community is, of what a lifelong learner should be. If you stay in Farmington Public Schools, pre-K through 26, you're going to experience these traits. And then that is really the springboard for these subcommittees to really invent or reinvent how we collectively envision school. So we're very, very excited, and we're very appreciative of the commitment of the work of our community members, especially our students that join us as well.
Can I just say one more thing? Just, I mean, listening to this, and I've always said, you know, one of my things is public education is not one size fits all. And we're doing a lot of things right in public education, you know, and that's evidenced by the students that were here tonight, you know, that we recognize. And so it's a matter of looking at what works, you know, and then meeting the needs of all of our students. And so it's, we're not reinventing the wheel, but we are looking at what is working and, you know, what the profile of our lifelong learner is. It's like the profile of the students. And we're a service industry. We're really serving the community. We're serving the students. And so listening to our students and what do they need and what are their needs, and then finding those innovative approaches. So I just want to just reinforce that. A lot of times people, I often hear the negative connotations sort of thing, but just to celebrate, we are doing a lot of things well and serving a lot of students well, and it's just looking at all of our students and what those needs are.
Thank you. Okay, let's see. We are ready for reports from board committees, and tonight we are hearing from the policy committee.
Well, thank you very much. The Policy Committee met on December the 15th to discuss 4 specific policies. I did give everyone a handout so that you can kind of read on with me. But the policy, there's 4 policies, and the number 1 that we have here are the policy 1004, which is the communication, consideration, and expectation of digital communication and use of social media. After talking about this particular policy, we heard from one of our members recommending that board members need to review policy 1004. And it was further suggested that all board members review all policies in the manual. So as far as I'm concerned, you pretty much take a look at policies with all the time that you actually have. That's a joke, okay? The next policy is policy 2005, it's behavior and personal electronic devices. A review of all the cell phone policies were discussed. It was suggested to get the law enforcement recommendation and the efficacy of having a cell phone in a crisis. Data is needed to support a recommendation. So this is not an action item at this time. We have pretty much have decided that there's more information that we have to have. I believe Dr. Delgado had mentioned that he would be working on that and providing us some additional information. Policy 2005, behavior, or 2006, which is health and safety, food deliveries. So the board approved the above policy at the October 28, 2022 regular meeting, and it can be added to the policy manual under policy 2005. And then the last one is the policy 8008, discrimination and harassment. Miller Johnson issued an alert regarding the USDA Food Nutrition Service requiring programs and receiving financial assistance from the USDA to update their discrimination complaint procedures and the interpret sex discrimination to cover sexual orientation and gender identity. The board's current policy has already been operating with this interpretation, so there's no policy change is needed. However, as I mentioned, also Dr. Delgado will reach out to Angela Davis, who is the Nutrition Service Supervisor, and to order posters with the updated non-discrimination statement through the use of the channels of the Michigan Department of Ed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Fox. Right. Next, we are moving on to public comment. If you wish to make public comment, there are cards over to the side. You can bring them up to Mrs. Starrett and put them in the ceramic container, and we will call you up for public comment. We ask that you be respectful of people and ideas, and each of you will have 3 minutes. A suggestion was given recently that we have like maybe a card that I neglected to make for tonight's meeting that could say maybe like 30 seconds left that we could hold up. So I'll have those for our next board meeting. Okay. Mr. Bill Lovaway.
Good evening. Now is the time for an independent annual audit of educational outcomes. First step in that process is create an education budget concurrently with the financial budget for 2023-2024. Second step, include this education budget in the superintendent's evaluation. Third step, measure student growth and progress. Fourth step, evaluate the superintendent. Now, why audit education outcomes? The district's $160 million budget, financial budget, is audited annually with a 100-plus page report. The superintendent is evaluated on the financial performance. Student growth and progress produced by this $160 million budget are not budgeted, not measured against any goals, reported in several slides at a board meeting, and not part of the superintendent's evaluation. It is time to measure the value of our school expenditures. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lovaway. Next, Mr. Eugene Greenstein.
Good evening. Upon retiring, I was involved with an organization that developed a one-week intervention that focuses on organizational dynamics and problem solving. As people in organizations, we spend most of our time solving problems. The intervention centers around a whimsical virtual factory that was totally out of control at the beginning of the week and was put in control by the end of the week, building a high-quality product at low cost with people no longer having to worry about being whimsically electrocuted or injured in other ways. The students who came from a broad range of endeavors learned how to solve problems and develop robust solutions. There were teachers, truck drivers, accountants, engineers, medical doctors, military officers, corporate vice presidents, and everything in between. All said it was the best training they had experienced. The doctors said their experience mimicked the problems they experienced in the operating room, surprisingly. And the military people said it was better than boot camp. One nationwide company sends all their new hires to the program, regardless of whether they're a laborer or a senior manager. Several of us have taken a major interest in the Farmington schools and their lack of performance in the basics. Between us, we have over 100 years of senior management experience. Our experience is very relevant, as my course intervention description indicated, and you may recall I talked about the F-150 plant last time. The fact that our students' performance in reading and math is poor is, as I stated, a crime against humanity. The discussion of Dr. Delgado's performance review at the last board meeting was very telling. There was no performance goals and objectives on reading and math, formally ranked or discussed. More importantly, going forward, there was not a whisper about the need to set strong goals and measurable metrics for the coming year to fix this problem. Too many of our kids can't read at grade level, and there are a significant number of those who are minorities. The superintendent evaluation rubrics, Appendix E and F, which I attached to the handout I'll give you, has specific guidelines on how to develop these SMART goals and objectives. Where are they? We have a significant problem in delivering a quality product. Students who can meet reading and math expectations without reading, there is no lifelong learning or critical thinking. Dr. Delgado at the December Saturday board meeting mentioned some things he is doing to address the problem. One example is the Adolescent Accelerated Reading Program. I did a little research, and that program appears to be a partial Band-Aid and not a long-term fix. Sadly, I doubt that anyone on the board has any understanding of this program, and no one asks for an explanation. This would never happen in corporate America on an issue so critical to the business. I know I'd like to learn more. The board seemingly pays more attention to textbook approval than the basics. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Greenstein.
Dr. Blau?
Yes.
I recognize that we do not generally respond to public comment unless there is a significant error. And I just wanted to point out that there was a statement made regarding student assessment not being evaluated. And I just wanted to make sure that folks knew that that is not accurate. 40% of the superintendent evaluation is based on student data, student growth and performance data. So I just wanted to make sure that no one walks away thinking that the superintendent is not evaluated on student success at all. 40% of the MASB evaluation that we use is associated with student performance. So I just wanted to make sure that that was clear.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for that clarification. Is there any other public comment? Any additional public comment? Seeing no further public comment, we will move on to action items. At the last meeting, we heard a presentation on the 22-23 first budget amendments. And so,
Dr. Blau?
yes.
Sure. As you mentioned, this item was presented in detail in the December 13th, 2022 regular meeting, and so I now move that the Board of Education approve the revised General Appropriations Resolution, the 2022-23 first budget amendment as presented at the December 13th, 2022 regular meeting, and waive the reading of the resolution.
Support.
Motion by Ms. Weems, supported by Mr. Rich. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, is this a roll call? Thank you. Mr. Walker?
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Ms. Weems?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Heinrich?
Yes.
I myself am yes, and Dr. Blau?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Passes. Okay. Next, we have the minutes from the closed session of December 13th, 2022. That session was a closed session because it was our discussion together with Dr. Delgado, his presentation. evaluation materials and our discussion prior to our regularly scheduled board meeting. So, yes, Ms. Heinrich.
I move Board of Education approve the December 13th, 2022 closed session meetings minutes as presented.
Support.
Motion by Ms. Heinrich, supported by Mr. Walker. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion passes. Right. Next, we will move on to the consent agenda. Yes, Sweeney.
I move that the Board of Education approve the January 10th, 2023 consent agenda as follows. Approval of minutes from the December 10th, approval of minutes from the December 10th board retreat, the December 13th special meeting, and the December 13th regular meeting.
Support.
Motion by Ms. Weems around approval of the consent agenda, supported by Mr. Rich. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Motion passes. Any reports this evening from board representative?
I do have a report just basically with the FAMPN Super Tutoring Program that we will come back on January the 14th from 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock. There will be a different place. It will be over at the Farmington High School Media Center and not here.
Not here, because of the construction.
Because of the instruction, yes.
Looking forward to seeing you.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ms. Fox. Any other representative report? Okay. Moving on to recommendations for future agenda items. Okay. How about good and welfare? Yes, Mr. Walker.
Just want to remind the community that the board, this committee, the Communications Community Engagement Committee, is busily working on the development of our first board conversation meeting, which will be held on Thursday, January 26th from 6 to, I believe it's 6 to 9. It'll be here at the MEC. So there'll be information that'll be coming out within a day or so about the process of attending that, and we're looking forward to a really robust discussion with our community about matters that concern this particular district.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Walker. Ms. Smith.
Again, Happy New Year to the people in the community, and welcome back to our staff and our students. I had a ton of calls the past couple of days of, students with anxiety and teachers and staff. I'm also working with the suicide prevention committee throughout the district. Mental health is something very, very important to all of us. I've had people, past and present, colleagues say, oh, well, you're crazy. Well, that's a stigma when it comes to mental health. And this is why people don't discuss mental health, whether it's depression, anxiety, whatever the person may have. We need to keep our eyes and ears open for staff members and students. Unfortunately, November 21st, my own brother took his life to suicide. So I'd like for everyone to keep their eyes and ears open to the community, to the students, to the staff. If you see it, most people may be the life of the party and laugh and giggle, but let's not just count them out as being crazy. That's one of the worst things you can do to a person that suffers from depression, is call them crazy. So, and be careful how we react and what we do to people, because it could trigger. So, not trying to be a Debbie Downer here, but let's look at our staff and our students and pay close attention to our mental health and what's going on in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. We do have in the state of Michigan the OK to Say program. So there are resources available online. If you or someone you know are struggling with any kind of mental health issue, there are all kinds of resources available, ways to get support, give support, and so forth.
I wanted to echo that point, that this time of year especially is a hard time of year for folks with the darkness and all of that, and wanted to also point out that there are lots of resources on the district's website for both adults and students. I hope that everyone was able to enjoy the break. The timing was a little bit odd at first for me, at least, but I hope that people got to enjoy it. I certainly did, and had an opportunity to recharge, whether that meant connecting with family or enjoying some rest and relaxation, or even going, somewhere nice and fun, which some of us were able to do. Before the break, I was able to enjoy some performances that were happening right that last week of school, which was really awesome, including a choir performance that was held at North Farmington High School, and saw Mr. Dianchi there. And I also am looking forward to the Martin Luther King celebrations that will be happening this weekend, including the one at East on Friday. So, thank you.
A lot of good things going on this time. Any other good and welfare? All right. Then we are adjourned. Have a wonderful rest of your week, everyone.